Alright, welcome kids. Today we have a tasty little adventure in the form of a Les Paul. There you have it, a studio. A studio Les Paul in, I'm not sure what color they call this. Cherry red or something like that. Anyway, she's a nice one. I want to say it's like a 2012 guitar, but the owner has bought used a set of these G-Force tuners because he does a few alternative tunings and he finds this helps him on stage. Anyway, as you can see, I've had it just a little bit apart. And you can tell there it has one of these Gibson PCBs. So we're going to be dealing with a couple of issues today. The first of which is I'm going to replace this bridge pickup. Now, the trouble with this PCB is that it's a generation older than the pickups that I have to replace it with. I have, from my Les Paul, the same pickup. It's the same 498T, the treble pickup for the bridge. But the trouble is that I guess at some point they switched over to making these all 4 conductor wires so that in some of the models obviously they can split coil and all that kind of stuff. And I assume from a manufacturing standpoint, because these are the ones you see most often. So I assume that from a manufacturing standpoint that because these pickups go in so many guitars, that for the ones that allow coil splitting and coil tapping and all that kind of stuff, it just makes sense to make them all that way. But these, as you can see, are 2 conductor, right, and a shielded cable ground. So that connection that normally you would make with these four individual wires has already been made for you with this pickup. But I can't plug this in there, so I have to figure something out. And so the problem that we end up solving here is how to deal with one of these Gibson PCBs if you're installing any kind of pickup that doesn't have the original type of connection without having to pull the whole thing out or anything like that. Anyway, it's easy to do, and we can get into that in just a second. This guitar, I mean, it irritates me a little bit. I don't know how I find these things or how they find me. This was just totally, this guitar ended up in my lap to look at completely by fluke. I put my pickups up for sale just to defray some of the cost of my new Les Paul. Sold them. Turns out I know the guy who, I know him because I've met him before, which is as far as I know him. And he's a nice fella, and he asked me if I'd look at this, and then he got telling me about it. So here's why this guitar really pisses me off. All right, let's get to the point where I explain to you why this is some kind of shady. The store manager for Beep and Beep, large Canadian retailer of musical instruments, not Steve's, the local Ottawa Bank Street store manager, sells my friend this guitar, 2012 Les Paul Studio. Tells him nothing wrong with it, all good to go. My friend starts playing it on stage, and then he realizes, oh, what's going on here? The bridge pickup cuts out every now and again, right? So this is why I'm taking it apart. The bridge pickup cuts out every now and again. Why is it doing that? So of course he took it back to the store, and the store manager had one of his techs look at it, and the tech said he didn't know what was wrong with it and he couldn't fix it, right? Like, it works. This pickup works. It 100%. I get a reading from it. It works. But the owner says once in a while when he's playing on stage, which is really unnerving, right? Like, if you're playing on stage, you don't want your pickup cutting out. You don't want your guitar cutting out. That would be really unnerving. Going up on stage with a guitar that you can't trust. So anyway, so he goes, he reckons, oh, it's got to be the pickup. And timing being what it is, I listed my pickups, my Gibson for like the same set that he's got in here, and I said, oh, I've also, if you want, I've got a set of these gold covers that don't have holes in them. They're just blank gold covers. That's how I listed them. And he was like, oh, I need a gold pickup. It's the same pickup that's in here. If you gotta buy these brand new, they're 150 bucks each. So I'll just get one used. So you see there, same pickup, same everything. That's what's going in there. It's exactly the same. Only difference being my covered pickup doesn't have holes. And I asked him if he wanted to have the original cover put back on, but he said no, he likes the blank cover, so that's why we're putting the blank cover. Because I could have just, the only difference would have been that these screws would have been, the screws wouldn't have been gold. Alright, so my friend takes this, they look at it, the guitar tech, the paid guitar tech at the store says he doesn't know what's wrong with the guitar. He doesn't know how to fix it. So now my friend has bought a used guitar from a store manager who sold it as, you know, a working guitar, claiming there were no problems with it. Now my friend is stuck with this guitar that intermittently cuts out on stage. And I'm still personally not convinced the pickup is what's causing the problem. I can't imagine a scenario in which the pickup itself fails intermittently. It doesn't seem plausible to me. But that said, this is happening and this is what the fella thinks that it is. And I haven't been able to reproduce the problem either. But we have a smoking gun. We have a smoking gun. And it's right here. And I'm gonna let you look at the smoking gun. This is the reason this story becomes a bit shady. I'm sitting there trying to make it fail, right? I'm thinking, oh, it's gotta be the switch that's cutting out. It's gotta be the switch that's not engaging, right? Gotta be. That would be the first culprit I would think of if somebody told me that was happening. Look at that switch. Just closely look at that switch. Has anybody figured out what I figured out already? That's been replaced. Ding, 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 it's been replaced. You see this outer collar? Well, it's gold like everything else. But you know what you get when you buy a gold hardware Les Paul? The threads on the inside of the switch and this shaft, they're gold too. That's been 100% swapped out because it would be gold. So, because the store manager bought this from new, as he told my friend that he purchased it from new, he then clearly at some point had that switch replaced because obviously it happened to him too. And he, like me, like the first thing I would have thought of, oh, switch. Let's just replace the switch. But you can buy these switches in gold, where the threads are gold and the shaft of the thing is gold, so that it matches this collar. And that's just, I don't know if that's just a standard CTS switch or what it is, but it has 100% been resoldered. I can tell by looking at it that somebody has replaced that. Now it works, so I've got no reason to touch it, no reason to replace it. That switch is working. So clearly this was never the thing that was causing the problem. But obviously, the store manager knew that something was wrong with this guitar. And he 100% passed this problem on to my friend, who's now at his own expense, right? Like, I sold my pickups for $100. So it's now cost him $100 used, like, to replace the pickups to try, and I told him already, I don't think this is going to solve the problem. I think the problem is very likely in here somewhere, and I can't imagine where it would be, because it's a pretty simple circuit board. There's really nothing going on here outside of the circuit board just being, all this does is just replace the physical connections with wires. That's all it is. It's just a flat surface where the leads are there instead of wires. So I can't imagine where in this circuit board, like, how it would fail intermittently. Like, there's no brains to the operation. There's not like a microchip that's malfunctioning. But something is absolutely causing it to cut out intermittently. And so he's decided to gamble on putting another pickup in there. And I'm going to install it in a way that obviously he can go back to his original pickup if he prefers. And if this doesn't solve the problem, he's already decided that we'll just, like, I basically talked him into, like, solving the problem by simply buying new pots. You've already got a switch, you don't need to replace that. Just get some new pots and a couple of capacitors and wire this all old school style. Which is what we'll do next if this doesn't work. And then he can always just turn around and resell these pickups, right? Like, he's not really out anything by buying these used. He can just turn around and resell these. So it's not much of a gamble for him. Anyway, so how do I deal with these pickups? It's really easy. Let's get these over onto my other table. All right, so putting pickup covers on is just a couple things to remember. You have to absolutely key the surface that you're gonna solder. So I give a little rub with some sandpaper to the inside of inside edge of the pickup cover. So we also want to key the inside surface of where you're going to join to the pickup. Make the surface rough, give the solder a little something to stick to. Now, this isn't strictly necessary, but I'll tell you what, it makes things about a bajillion times easier. A little bit of solder paste, just a tiny little smidgeroo goes such a long way, and it makes solder flow so much easier. Now, also, normally, you'd want to pinch these a little bit, but I've already done that. And then you can just drop the pickup inside. And it's as simple as, just put a little solder on there, and then just like that. There we go. The second part of this, we are going to prepare the pickup. So if you have one of these quick connects and you're going to install it in it, you have these quick connect Gibson pickups and you're going to install them in another guitar, I recommend just sort of snipping away this plastic stuff here from the leads, because then it leaves you the nice tinned ends there that you can use, which is great. Okay, so this is how this works. Simple. So for Gibson pickups, green and white get soldered together, black and bare go together, red is hot. Alright, so with this, you got to keep in mind, these face back. So, guess it would help if we attach this to the pickup cover, right? Or to the pickup ring. All right. You put it on the right way. All right, there we go. Just gonna go ahead and screw it in. Then we'll make our final connections, which should be nice and easy. If you could see, you'd see what I'm doing. Sometimes I forget about you. So we're just gonna solder our ground to the top of the pot, and we'll bypass this connection to the pot and just connect it right there. Just to that first lug like you normally would. If you were just wiring this up right there. A little solder paste. A little solder paste for your boy. Hey, for your boy. Represent for your boy. Okay. So I'm gonna melt a little bit of solder. A little bit of solder onto this pot. Just a little bit. So she is there for me. There we go, a little bit of solder. And put a little bit more there. For my friends. And then I take the hot wire. And I'll make that connection, and then I make this connection with the ground. Then everybody is happy. Then everybody is happy, mes amis. And there you have it, the pickup. Hopefully she work. I take that and push it down like that. And here we go. Come on now. I can't just not clean the guy's frets and fingerboard and probably do a little bit of setup. It's friggin' all or nothing with me if I pull apart your guitar. Alright, so we're back dealing with this tuner. Just won't. It's obviously stripped. But luckily, the owner has another set. I'm not sure if that's on that, but there.
I'm just gonna pipe in, being the owner there. The reason that I have these robo tuners, I know a lot of people are shun them or make fun of them. Or I just have them for one of my guitars because when I'm playing live, there's a bunch of different tunings that I do, and I like to go to Dad Gag, Open G, and a couple other ones. So drop down D and Open G. So it it helps do that quickly.
Yeah, if you have a use for them, for sure.
Yeah, but
I imagine any reiteration of these would probably mostly be software.
pretty much firmware hard updates.
What's what I found most disappointing about this when I got my first guitar with these. So let's. There's no way to. It looks like the same.
Really? Eh? Well, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, those look the same to me. All right, so let's throw caution to the wind and
I wonder if it'll take it on, just like it'll think it's part of the original, so it has some sort of a
I can't imagine
way
why.
that they wouldn't want to spend enough money to.
Can't imagine why it wouldn't.
Yeah. Weird. It's turning, eh? But it just doesn't want to go.
Just won't.
Weird. Well, you know what? Might as well take this apart after if you want to figure around with it and see what's inside.
Yeah, that was my first thought.
I mean, because you can hear all those little gears, right? So.
It was, yeah, I have video of it spinning.
Weird.
But it's crazy that you have a replacement set. Had you just bought like 2 sets of them, or used, or did you have one on a guitar?
Yeah, I had one of them was on the guitar. Another guy was selling them used, and I actually originally was going to put them on my Epiphone because I didn't want to. You know what I just said previously. People, my nicest guitar is my Gibson, right? So
Yeah,
put the robo-tuners on my favorite guitar.
Yeah,
but at the same time, so I bought this to put on my Epiphone.
Yeah,
But it turns out it doesn't fit because the headstock is a bit of a...
Slightly different.
And I realized that, but I didn't think that, you know what it was? It wasn't just the size, it was the holes where they line up. So the holes pattern
Can
on
I
the...
just toss that on top of the one that you're messing
Yeah,
with?
sure.
So,
So
actually, here.
if anybody has Epiphone, even my Dot, I have an Epiphone semi-hollow Dot, same thing.
Won't work.
No, it wouldn't work because the holes just don't line up. They're a little bit off, probably about 1/4 of an inch.
Alright, I don't want to... I want to over-tighten those, so...
Well, you want to know who can't win? My team, the Oilers, can't win right now.
2, 3... Oh, buddy.
Yeah, there it goes.
Butter.
That's the easy way too.
Butter.
Yeah. See how easy is that?
Oh, no. I'm not... I don't dispute that once the strings are mounted...
Yeah.
The practicality of it, once the strings are mounted, is undeniable.